Well, great to be back on Saber Media Sports Extra on YouTube. And like I always do it, always ready to serve you the best of sporting content. Enzo Maresca is no longer the coach of Chelsea Football Club, and probably that is why Chelsea is trending. We'll be looking at his exit from Chelsea Football Club. Do we have to put the entire blame on management, or do we blame Enzo Maresca for his early exit from Chelsea? And also be looking at potential replacement for Enzo Maresca because Chelsea are on the lookout for a new coach. I delve into action without wasting time, and do want to subscribe to Seven Media Sports Extra on YouTube for the best of sporting content. I'll start off with my initial take on the exit of Enzo Maresca. I never saw this coming at all, and it really came as a surprise because looking at the performance of Chelsea under Enzo Maresca, I think they've been fairly good. Nobody gave him that chance of winning two trophies in his first season as Chelsea manager. And like I said earlier on, winning the UEFA Conference League, securing Champions League qualification for Chelsea, and also winning the Club World Cup. And they did it in some style by beating the winners of the UEFA Champions League trophy, Paris Saint-Germain, in the final. So I never saw this coming at all. And considering the fact that he was named manager of the month for November, I never saw this coming at all. Chelsea had a terrible December. That is well understood. It was terrible because out of the 6 matches they played in December, they won only once. And also, possible 18 points, Chelsea picked up only 6 points. So, if we are to use December as a yardstick, then of course, fair enough, he really deserved the sack. But I do not think, as a club, if you want to sack a coach, you would only consider 1 month where, together with his team, they were that terrible. If you are doing that, then of course, you do not want to be fair to that coach. So you cannot use only 1 month to assess the capacity, the ability of Enzo Maresca as a coach. If you are doing that, then, like I said earlier on, you do not want to be fair to that coach. But if you want to really assess and get to know that he can do the job, or he's not fit, or he's no longer fit for the job, then you need to go beyond only a month. So I do not think, though the cracks were visible, the cracks were that visible because Chelsea did not flourish in December. But I will still stand by my point and say, if you want to base your assessment on Enzo Maresca using only December as a yardstick, then I do not think there is that little bit of fairness in that conversation. Well, of course, for Enzo Maresca, if you are to ask me, where do we put the blame? Do we blame management entirely for his exit, or do we put the blame on Enzo Maresca himself as a coach? Time to use 100% and share it among the two parties. I'll make it 60% for Enzo Maresca, 40% for management. 60 for Enzo Maresca because if you are to consider and go back, revisit, have a look at the ground rules when Chelsea were on the lookout for a new coach after the exit of Mauricio Pochettino. In fact, one of the key points was that they needed a coach, or they wanted a coach who would focus on the coaching. Much concentration will be on the coaching, not the coach who will come in and will be asking questions, will be asking a lot of questions, would like to have a voice in the boardroom, management meetings, want to have that space. So it was one of the requirements, one of the ground rules. And you, as a coach, you were privy to that info. In fact, you read it before you accepted Chelsea's offer. So you don't say that now you've evolved into a new coach, a coach who has proven that he has the capacity to deliver, who is now an achiever because you've won the Conference League, because you've won the Club World Cup, because you exceeded all expectations in your first season. You qualified Chelsea to the UEFA Champions League. And now you want to experience something different. Now you want to have that room. You want to have that voice. And you want to be treated like the way Arteta is being treated at Arsenal, the way Pep is being treated at Manchester City. You need to go back. Go back and read the ground rules again. Go back and ask yourself, what did Chelsea tell me before I took over or I accepted to be the head coach of Chelsea? What was the requirement? Because Chelsea clearly were on the lookout for a coach who would focus on the coaching. And when it comes to sporting issues, transfers, and a whole lot of issues, management will have that free room and make decisions. So it wasn't as if he was in the unknown. He was privy to that info before he took or accepted to be the coach of Chelsea. So fast forward, you don't change and start to question authority. You don't do that. That is why Enzo will take 60. Now for management, why 40 for management? Because I think clearly Enzo came in probably as a nobody. His only experience was in the championship, first time coaching in the Premier League, and considering his achievement, I think management should have been that charitable enough with Enzo Maresca, where they would give him that room for him to have a voice. Because he's not the same Maresca of old that came to Chelsea as a coach who had never coached in any top flight, at any top flight level. No, for Christ's sake, he has evolved. He's the champion of the world. He just defeated Barcelona by 3-0 in the UEFA Champions League, Club World Cup finals, destroyed PSG, in the finals. So he has proven. And everything that he has achieved at Chelsea, or he achieved so far at Chelsea, was on merit. So if you are to reflect, you agree with me that, of course, management should have softened their stance a little bit. That is why they also taking 40. Now, for management, they also made things quite difficult for Enzo Maresca. At a point in time, I read that he wanted to publish a book and they stopped him from doing that. And I'm sure Enzo read between the lines and he got to know that it looks likely they will get rid of me. So let me act strange. Let me make things difficult for them so that there will be that agreement between the two of us so that we can have that conversation and take that decision. We go our separate ways because clearly, unless you give me clarification, it got to a time he was not interested in going for post-match press conferences. Suddenly act strange on the sideline or on the touchline will ask Willie Caballero to go for post-match press conferences on the ground that he was not feeling well, which was not true, which was a lie. End of year wish from the Chelsea team, and Enzo Maresca was not part. He intentionally decided not to wear the Chelsea tracksuit again and started to wear his own trainers or kits. So he kept on pushing management and clearly had their backs against the wall. So they were left with no option than to call him and have that conversation with him so that we go our separate ways. Was it a clear case of underperformance that called for the sack of Enzo Maresca? I think it goes beyond performance. Like I said earlier on, you cannot use only 1 month to assess a coach. What if it was a blip? And it happens all the time. Barcelona did not start the season well. But later on, they picked up the pieces. And look at how Manchester City started the season. Not really consistent. But now look at Manchester City. Look at Manchester City. Look at the way Liverpool have struggled. Still struggling in the English Premier League. But Slot has not been sacked. So what if it is a blip? What if it is a blip? It is one of those things. Because just November, he was the coach of the month. So if in December, performance is not on point, performance is horrible, and as management, you want to use only December as a yardstick, as a parameter, and take a decision on the future of Enzo Maresca, then I do not think you want to be fair on that score. Now, who takes over as the next coach of Chelsea Football Club? Is it going to be Xavi Hernandez? Is it going to be Frank Lampard, Oliver Glasner, Liam Rossinia, and many more? At the moment, according to bookmakers, it is likely Liam Rossinia will take over as the new Chelsea head coach. And it has to do with connections because the owners of Chelsea, they also have a stake in Strasbourg. So it will be that easy for them to bring on board Liam Rossinia. And also looking at the working conditions at Chelsea, I do not think Xavi will go in for such a job where he will be deprived of having a voice in the boardroom during crucial meetings, sporting decisions, and Xavi will not have a voice. I do not think he's going to accept such an offer. Same applies to Oliver Glasner and even Frank Lampard. I do not think they will settle for less. No, because as a coach, you want to evolve, you want to achieve. Look at the kind of support Arteta is receiving at Arsenal, the kind of support Pep Guardiola is receiving at Manchester City. Look at the kind of support. But with Liam Rossinia, Premier League wise, he's a nobody. So he will come in and it will be yes, Amasa, yes, Amasa, yes, master, yes, Amasa, yes, Amasa. Whatever they will say is what he will do. And I'm not too sure he's going to give them problems. Unless he also becomes a winner, an achiever, and will start to management in that tight corner. So at the moment, very likely Liam Rossini will be named as the new head coach of Chelsea Football Club. And that is about it on Chelsea. Do want to subscribe to 7 Media Sports Extra on YouTube for the best of sports and content. Have a wonderful day.